Hi there, I'm Nancy from Black Sheep Knitting in Needham, Massachusetts. We're a weekly podcast, and sometimes I struggle for things to talk about, but I think I have a full table full of stuff I could talk about, but I may not get to all of it. Anyway, we do this once a week, and we invite your comments and questions. And today I'm answering one question anyway that came up. So I'll start off with that. Someone wanted to know, I think this was the question, the difference between Amano Sammy and Laine du Nord soft lino. So there are a couple of big differences. The Laine du Nord soft lino is 80% linen and 20% Pima cotton. It's for a linen, it's to be that much linen. It's super, super soft, I have to say. And the other big difference is the gauge. The gauge on this is a sport weight on the lino, soft lino. It does say that it's machine washable, which is really nice. In cold water on gentle cycle, mind you, and no dryer. And I always say to people, don't put anything you knit in the dryer. So this will go in the washer on gentle cycle, and I find most things will do that, but don't put them in the dryer. So that's the soft lino. Well, the Sammy is 100% Peruvian Pima organic cotton. So this is 100% cotton. And this is also super soft. For those of you who haven't loved knitting on cotton, this is a dream. And it's soft, it's wonderful to wear. And it, I believe that it is hand wash only. However, I did put mine in the washer on gentle cycle. I did 2 sweaters that I have with this, and it was fine. But I think the preference would be to hand wash it. It also, the other difference is that it is a DK weight. DK very light worsted, so it says 21 stitches over 4 inches, whereas this was 25, I believe, or 26. So those are the differences. They're not really interchangeable unless you change the size that you're doing, and you have to know how to do that. So that's the answer to that question. I wanted to talk about what's happening this weekend. It's local yarn shop day, and we're going to have some things going on here in the shop. The first thing is Casapinka once again has designed a pattern for the local yarn shop day, and we have codes, so we can give you a code for the free pattern. I believe it starts that you might be able to get it Friday morning, and not sure, but I think she may have that online. But the cowl is called the Fidget Cowl. It calls for two different colors of fingering weight yarn. She used over half, or 400 yards, 2/3 of each skein, she said. And she said you can make the cowl larger. So she used a solid and a variegated. And we'll show some possibilities. So the codes you can get, I think it's Friday morning, but you have to get them from us. And you have to buy the yarn here. So I have codes, and they're good until, I believe, Sunday night. So that's happening. The other thing that is happening is I'm bringing in yarns some really nice yarns from my stash that I decided that I should be knitting with yarns from my shop, not yarns that I bought other places. And I have a habit of, when I travel, I go to yarn shops, and then I always feel like I should buy some yarn. So I bought a lot of random skeins over the last few years. And I thought maybe some other people would like to use these because they're sitting around in my house. And so they're going to be on sale at quite reduced prices. We may have a surprise discount where you pick a number out of a jar and you get a discount. We've done that in the past. And the other thing we've done, and we haven't done it in a long time, we're going to have a sample sale. And we have a lot of samples here in the shop, and I think it's time for us to have some new ones. So I'll show you some examples of some of the things. Robin, they're right here if you could grab them. So these are just a few. This is a great market bag that we made out of cotton. So this is a fun one that you can take to the market or whatever. This is a beautiful Casapinka cowl out of a yarn that we don't have anymore, but this is soft as all get out, and you would love to wear that. We have a sweater. This is like a size medium to large sweater. I forget the name of the pattern, but that could be a nice, and I don't know that it was ever worn. It looks like it has a few pills, but it was really here in the shop. I don't think anybody ever wore it. Have a lovely little hat that would be fun. We have two of these lace capelets. If you have a special event to go to this summer, this would be nice. This one has little copper sequins in it. So that's a fun little item. And we have another one. This one I think it was with a lace weight that had some sparkle in it and some mohair together. So this is a nice capelet. You know, they go over your head and over your shoulders. A great thing to put on for a summer evening. And here's a cowl made with, I want to say this is with, no, I thought it was Spin Cycle, but it's not. And it was made with the Isair Alpaca 2 and a yarn that we had that changes colors. And it's a cowl with a twist in it. And then this fun little headband. Somebody might want that to keep your ears warm. Anyway, there'll be lots more, so you'll want to check that out. So that's all day Saturday, well, 1 to 5 on Saturday. Want to remind you about, we still have some spaces left in the embroidery on knits workshop, and we're going to be doing, we're going to do visible mending, we're going to do duplicate stitch, and then knitting. Most of what I've done are flowers, but there are all kinds of things you can knit on your sweaters. So if you've got a sweater that maybe has a stain in it, a plain sweater that you're tired of and you'd like to jazz it up, doing a embroidery stitch on this would be fun. Can cover up a hole, a moth hole. I've got some things that I'm doing like that. But it's a lot of fun. It's different from embroidery on canvas or whatever else you might have embroidered on. So it's a little bit, it's different. It's a little more rustic, and I find it a lot of fun. I think it's really fun. So Robin said, "What are you wearing?" I'm wearing a sweater I bought. So it's not, I didn't knit this. The other thing to remind you of, in May, we are having a trunk show of Miss Bab's yarns. So they're sending us some boxes full of yarn for us to sell. And I think I know for sure she's sending Yowza, I can't remember the other ones, but there's fingering weights and some of her popular yarns. So that'll be here for a week in the shop. Beginning, I think, May 16th or 17th. There'll be more about that in the coming weeks. We still have, or we have ongoing until December. Maureen is here, and she is teaching crochet Saturday mornings and Saturday afternoons. So she's got a class in the morning that has spaces. It's for any level, not for a beginning, somebody who doesn't know how to crochet at all. You have to have some experience with crochet. So if you took my crochet workshop, beginning workshop, you would be able to do that. And it means it's from 10 to 12, every other Saturday. So they're not meeting this Saturday, but they'll meet the following. Yeah, you can call the shop to register for that. I wanted to talk about, this is totally taken from Andrea Mowry, but I was watching her podcast this morning, and in case you haven't watched I'll Knit If I Want To, she gave out some really interesting information today, and I thought I hope she wouldn't mind that I'm repeating it. But people are always putting yarns together, or there are a lot of patterns now that are putting yarns together. Oh, Robin has on the one of the cowls, but she was saying that putting, and I have a formula for how you put two like yarns together, but if you put two lace yarns together and hold them together to knit together, you would get a fingering. If you put a lace and a fingering, you'd get a heavy fingering to a sport. Now, mind you, no two yarns are alike, so this is, you know, just a formula she's come up with. Two fingerings equal a sport to a DK. One lace and fingering or sport equals a DK. And of course, this is always dependent on the needle that you're using, because that can make a big difference. For instance, like if you were knitting something like this, if you were knitting a cabled sweater, you wouldn't necessarily make something that's as loose and open and airy as this. So depending on what needle you're on, it's going to change. Let's see, two strands of sport equal DK to worsted. Two strands of DK equal an Aran. Two worsted together equal chunky. Now people mix up chunky and bulky all the time. So chunky, we're saying, is probably 3.5 stitches to 1 inch. And two Arans equal a super bulky. The other formula that I use, if I'm putting suppose I'm putting two DKs together. So if they are, so I would add, so I'm saying that, let's do a worsted. So at 5, no, we'll go back to DK, it's easier for me. So if I'm saying a DK is 5.5 stitches to the inch, if I'm putting two together, if I add the two together, I get 11. And then if I divide that number by 3. So that gives me 3 and 2/3, I think, stitches to the inch. My math might not be quite right, but the formula is, if you're taking two like yarns, putting them together, double their stitches per inch, and divide by 3. And you'll get the approximate gauge.
Wait, that's two different ways.
So you can try it. No, it doesn't work with the two. I just gave you the formula for 2 different weights. Robin said, what if you do? Anyway, something else came to my mind the other day. People come in all the time and say, I don't want wool. I'm allergic to wool. Well, there's a lot of controversy about being allergic to wool. I would almost say that by the time you get yarn, it's been processed so much, there's not a lot of semblance to the original wool. But what people always, the reason people say they're allergic to wool is that the little scale fibers that come out of that are in particularly a non-superwash wool scratch your skin, and you become sensitive, it itches you, it's not comfortable, it's not fun. The wools today, a lot of them, the merinos and the merino blends, are much softer and smoother and do not cause that kind of irritation. Now, everybody's skin is different, and everybody's tolerance is different. So merino wools and cashmere, baby Surrey alpaca, those are quite soft and are worth a try. If you have gone to the dermatologist and tested positive for allergies, I think I had some allergy going on in my skin. Went to the dermatologist and had, 1,000 pricks on my back. And it turned out I was allergic to cows. So,
You don't knit with their skins.
I don't knit with cows, and you would think then I would be allergic to leather, but I wasn't allergic to. I don't know, So it depends. Some people can be sensitive to the lanolin in very woolly wools. That the lanolin isn't always washed out, or when they scour it. So that could be, and it could also be for in these woolly wools something foreign in the wool. There's like straw and different things that end up in the wool. So those are just some thoughts on wool allergies. So I think people who think they're allergic are not tested allergic. They have sensitive skin. Mind you, that I'm not saying people who think they're allergic are allergic. That's fine, but it's worth giving some of these softer yarns, things that have cashmere blend or Surrey alpaca in them, or merino, because merino just doesn't have those scales sticking off, which are the things that bother you. Also, superwashed wools. Years ago we didn't have those, and then they discovered that they could get those scales off and chemically treat the yarn, thus makes it slipperier and a little different feeling, but those are less irritating to people's skin. So I wanted to show you some kits that we have. People love kits and we love making them up. So we had one that we put out, and it's already sold. We have one left. This one is called, and the cowl is Velvet Mirror. It's a cowl by Andrea Mowry, and it calls for, I think, a mohair, but we used this gorgeous Fua Fua from Moondrake Yarns for it. And someone came in yesterday and said someone told her that to double the Fua Fua. I don't double the Fua Fua. You'll drown out the spin cycle. So this is a beautiful colorwork cowl, and we've made up some new. I'm sorry.
There's a knit along, the spin cycle knit along, the cowl knit along. This is.
Oh, you could use this for the spin cycle cowl, cowgirl knit along.
Cowgirl.
So this would be a great one. This one is called Oatmeal. No, it's called Stay Ready, and these are the colorways for this one. And then we have another one called Lichen, and this is the Afternoon Delight from Spin Cycle, and Lichen, it's a Surrey, this is a Surrey alpaca, so it's different from the Fua Fua.
I'm liking it.
Robin's liking the lichen. So that's another one. We made up the Saturn shawl you saw this last week, in a DK, but we thought, wouldn't it be fun in a little bit lighter weight for the summer? And we got a huge shipment of the Manos Alegria into the shop. So I made up some kits that I think you'll like. This one is Blueberry and Ning. And Alegria, you can say what you want about all these other fingering weight yarns or sock weight yarns out there, but for my money, this is one of the best. It is so darn soft. It has a little bit of nylon in it. It's beautiful for socks, but it's also beautiful for a shawl. So this you would use 2 skeins. Have another colorway made up. This one is Lavender and Ion, 2 gorgeous blues, and they're 445 yards on this, so it's very generous. So if you make this shawl in the fingering weight, my recommendation is that you use probably a size 5 needle, 4 or 5 needle, to make it nice and light. And you can continue the pattern until you run out of yarn to make it a little bit bigger. But I love a lightweight, fingering weight shawl for the summer because they're just great, particularly if you're going a place with air conditioning. This next one, this is one of those ones you just say, ooh, ah. This is called Copper, and this is called Camelot. But aren't those gorgeous together? Love those colors. This one, of course, I love this. Is one of my favorite colors. This is called Spirulina. And this one is Tutti Frutti. Doesn't it look like Tutti Frutti? But really fun, speckled, very summery looking shawl. Next we have Taffeta and Orchieta. This has got bits of that purple in it, which is really fun, I think. And another one. This is a beautiful rosy pink called Wild Orchid, which is appropriate, I think, and Water Lily together. Also, we have turmeric, and Sari. That has gold speckles in it. I love this golden, sort of purpley, turquoisey color. And then finally, this one. And when we did have a comment last week because we showed that bright orange Lena, and one woman, I can't remember what she said, but it wasn't a color for her. And then the next comment was,
scary.
She said it was scary. And then the next person said, I love it. So this is for somebody who loves orange. And this one is called Bright Idea. And this one is called Juanita. So I love these. Now, the nice thing about this kit is you could also purchase these for the Casapinka shawl because she is using a solid and a variegated, and that's what we've done with these. So these will be available online and in the shop for you if you're interested. So I think that may be all I have to say for today. I hope you'll join us on local yarn shop day. Support us and any other local yarn shop that you frequent. We are small businesses and we rely on our faithful, wonderful customers to be able to pay our rent and pay our bills. So we hope that you'll take some time to stop by and see what we have going on here. So happy knitting. I'm going out of town next week, so I don't know if we'll have time to podcast. We'll see what how things develop over time. Otherwise, I'll see you in 2 weeks. So happy knitting, and thanks for joining us. Bye.